I want to welcome Ben Bowman, a Tigard-Tualatin School District Board member, to Late Night in Tigard. Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for having me here on Late Night in Tigard.
So we wanted to talk today about Packed with Pride, which is a group and an organization that you, I think, put together pretty quickly as the pandemic started. Tell us all about that.
Well, it seems like ancient history now, but March of last year, when the pandemic first came to Oregon, and no one was sure what it was going to be or what it was going to look like, we were the first school district in the state to announce that we were closing school. And originally the idea was we were going to give ourselves a 1-week buffer between spring break, so we'll have 2 weeks total to sort of wait out the virus and it'll be gone. We'll come back to school, everything will be fine.
How'd that go?
Not so great, believe it or not, not so great. But one of the good things that happened in that meeting was it was a community conversation, so it wasn't just the school board, but and we kind of came together to say, yes, it makes sense to close schools, but if we close schools, there's a lot of students in our district who rely on the school district for basic nutrition access, so we have to figure out a way to provide nutrition to those kids while school is closed, and so that's how Packed with Pride started.
So who was involved in turning Packed with Pride into a real thing that was delivering services to our community, really became a critical part of our community during the pandemic?
I mean, it started with a small team and it became a huge team. So the very first meeting was, it's wild to think about now because we weren't wearing masks at the time. Nobody knew that masks were a thing. We weren't social distancing. So the first meeting was I went over to TTSD board chair Maureen Wolf's house, and we got Margie up on a screen much like this, and we had a 3-person conversation about, okay, here are the logistics we need to think about in the short term, here's what we'll put in boxes of food, etc. Then the next day, we went to the office of the Tigard-Tualatin Education Association, the teachers union, and Scott Herron from TTEA kind of joined that core team, and those 4 folks, myself, Maureen, Margie, and Scott, were sort of the initial group. The city of Tigard provided a huge lifeline at a critical moment for Packed with Pride. There was a moment after we had been operating for a couple months where I was sort of the pessimist in Packed with Pride, and I was talking about we need to start figuring out how we're going to wrap up and how we're going to shut off services because we don't want an abrupt ending where people who've been relying on us all the time.
So you were thinking small.
Yeah, I was, because a food program like this is incredibly costly. It costs a bunch of money to buy food, even though we get tremendous discounts. And right when we were having that conversation about what does the future look like, can we keep pulling this off, Mayor Snyder, the Tigard City Council, and the City of Tigard came through in a very big way and kept us alive, and I think signaled importantly to other donors and other community members that we were serious and we were going to be sticking around for a while.
Well, and this was a critical service for our community.
Absolutely, and so I texted with Margie Green before I came today, and the City of Tigard's grant specifically put together over 2,000 food boxes and fed over 10,000 individuals in our community. So really big numbers made possible by the City of Tigard.
So are there a couple of stories, like if I ask you to, tell me 1 or 2 stories that really, capture the essence of Packed with Pride and the impact it's having on the community, what would those couple stories be?
The one that's very vivid to me is this was back when I was intentionally unemployed before I knew there was going to be a global recession. But I was able to volunteer every day and just spent all my time at Tigard High School. And so I was helping on a Friday, and a parent who didn't speak English was driving through this sort of drive-through arrangement that Katie McKee from Tigard High School helped us figure out how to get the cone set up from her band expertise, parade expertise.
So she's applying her prior skills to a new problem.
Exactly.
I think we've all done a lot of that this year.
Yeah, yes. And there was this mom who came through who, there's several folks who were able to translate. I speak a little bit of broken Spanish, but basically just tears coming down her face and with gratitude explaining that she didn't know how she was going to feed her family. And Packed with Pride existed to fill that need. The parent reaction is often emotional. And it's like, I think just overwhelmed gratitude and sadness, and there's a lot
of emotions all at once there.
Yeah, but for students, for the kids, especially the younger kids, it's just joy. It's just pure happiness that they got some new food, they got a box of cereal. So when you deliver on Saturdays, and we have a no contact policy, so we're not actually interacting with the parents. You drop the box, knock, and then walk away, or sometimes you'll even text. and you can hear from inside the house the kids laughing or getting excited because their food delivery is there.
I think it's probably because someone from the school district came and they didn't deliver homework.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Although we did have some help from City of Tigard Library as well as the district's librarians to put some books in the Pack with Pride boxes, which, believe it or not, I think was a pleasant surprise for a lot of the students too.
Ben, I want to thank you very much for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Good to see you.
See ya.